Good evening, everybody. Welcome to In the Zone with RC and Dave D. Now, I'm RC. Dave is out today. He's got a family emergency, so we wish and pray Dave well, and I'll let him explain to everybody what's going on at the time. But we are live at the Midwest Studios for XP Team USA, and the show is brought to you by XP Metal Detectors. XP, dominating the hobby of invention. You don't have to be intimidated with an XP Deus or RX. Thanks to Gary Blackwell and his XP Skill School on YouTube. Get all the latest tech videos to better your experience in the field, and new face-to-face book and metal detecting skill schools. This group was created by the XP guru himself, Gary Blackwell, as a place to meet and chat with fellow XP metal detectors, and we hope that you'll see you there in this metal detecting skills school on Facebook. So I can't do this alone. And like I said, Dave is out with a family emergency. So I knew who to call. I just knew it. And the second I called this person, I think I I can do this. So let's bring my co-host in for tonight. I'll just bring her. Ooh, I dropped it. I dropped the ball. Bring her in. Jay, what's going on?
Surprise!
This is like Regis and Kelly. This is like Regis and Kelly when Kelly's gone and like Gelman comes in or something. This is great. How's it going?
Great. It's a little hot outside, but other than that, I think we're fine.
Now, you helped with our guest tonight. We got a pretty cool guest tonight. Tell us who we have tonight.
We have Kevin Stone with us. He's a good friend of mine on Facebook. And so I was pretty excited that he decided to take the opportunity to come and chat with us this evening.
He's going to talk about how he finds some cool stuff using something a little different than what a lot of us use. So that'll be pretty interesting. But let's play some bills, play a commercial, and we'll be back right after this.
Hello guys, it's the ruggedly handsome Mr. Blackwell here, just dropping in to tell you about a new Facebook group I've got. It's called the Metal Detecting Skill School, and it's all about XP Technical. So if you want to sign up and talk to other Deus or ORX users about technical stuff, features, program settings, we'd love to see you. It's going great guns at the moment. We've got some fantastic people on board. I've got a field waiting for me there. I've got some black clouds chasing me there. I've got to get going. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you over on the channel.
And we're back. Thanks for Gary over the pond sending us a commercial. Hey, Jay, we got some people from South America watching the show. No pressure tonight, but Uruguay and yeah. So I mean,
nice. Welcome everybody.
Multiple continents. So I'm pretty excited about our guest tonight. Our guest is Kevin Stone. Now, Kevin is a dowser. Now, when I went and did all my research and did all my graphic design for this, I spelled it wrong. And then I double checked it, but I noticed that there's dowsing with a U, which is like to douse a fire. And this is dowsing as in finding things. So that was pretty, I had to spend a couple of days having to go back and fix things. So, you know, that's always a good thing.
My posts are wrong too.
Yes. So I must have got all the comments and you didn't get any because I got like, hello, this is not how it's spelled. So,
oops.
Hey, we live and learn, right? But without further ado, let's bring in Kevin. Kevin comes from the great state of Oklahoma, and he is in the same line of profession that I am. He works at a casino also, so I'm sure we could have some great stories. But let's bring him in. Kevin, welcome tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Kevin, what's the weather like in Oklahoma these days? Did you get a lot of rain, or are you warm?
It's warm, and we've been getting a lot of rain. Rain and thunderstorms.
Nice. Well, I mean, not nice, but it's like a brick outside. I can't even get the shovel in the ground right now. So it's kind of that part of the year, late August, early September. You kind of have to stay away from metal detecting because you don't want to mess with anybody's yards. And even if you find a place to hunt, you can't get your spade in the ground. So
yeah, it's unusually wet.
Yeah. Well, it's good. Now at least you have a reason to be inside and talk to us tonight. So, Kevin, let's start out. Tell us about how you got started in dowsing.
Okay, that would be, let's go back to about 1967 when my birthday, which is in November 15th, I got my first watch, Wind Up Timex. I wore it for about 2 weeks. Then it quit working. So I throwed it in the buffet drawer. And then I asked enough for another one for Christmas. And they said, no, you just broke that one. You're not going to get another one. Well, my great-grandpa lived with us, and he was born in 1880s, and he knew there's a lot of stuff he knew, the old school, the old way.
Right.
That's the way he was stuck, was the old way of doing things. Him and my dad got the watch out, started messing with it. Come to find out, he looked at it, and they got it working. And Dad got to thinking on his great-grandpa used to douse water wells everywhere.
Okay.
Oklahoma, Kansas, and other states that they lived in, and they never missed a well. Well, he had 2 or 3 watches, pocket watches, and they end up getting magnetized. So he would give that one to Dad to play with it and get it running. They figured out mine was magnetized because it started working. After they got done with it, well, my great-grandpa took me out the back door. We lived in the country, and this was first part of December, so everything was dry, no leaves on the trees. He cut a forked branch off of a pear tree and told me to hang on to it and hold it just like this. And he said, follow me. Well, when you're 7, you don't know what's going on.
All right.
So I was hanging on to it, walking down the sidewalk with him. We got out so far, and it went down. And that's what he suspected. It kept bouncing, kept jerking down and staying down, and it was bobbing down. He said, okay, that's all I need to know. And I never expected what it was, but that's the first time. And looking back, I know what he was doing, because where it did that at, right next to us, was an old hand crank cistern. And he knew there was water there. So that was his test. So looking back, I see it. Then I didn't do anything with it until probably in my teens, playing with copper wire and rods. Then later on, probably early 20s, my brother got to where he would hide. He couldn't do it. He tried it. And I don't know if he couldn't focus or what, but he tried it, and he couldn't get it to work like it normally should. So he would hide coins. I'd go outside, go somewhere, and he'd hide coins around the house, throw quarters under the couch, under chairs, under the bed. And I'd come back, and I had cut off coat hangers that weren't very long, which mainly would be like an L rod. He could go find them. I'd go around the house, and wherever I go, the way I react to them, they will point to what I am looking for. And it doesn't matter distance. And I would walk over, and they would cross, like get over the couch, and the rod would cross. I'd reach under the couch, pull out a coin, hand it to him. I said, there it is. And then he said, one time, he said, no, that's not the one I put there. I said, oh, so we're 20, here.
You found it random.
And then I done it again, went back under the couch. At the other end, found another quarter. That's the one that he had put there.
So
do you do that? And it kind of frustrated him. And he done a lot of metal detecting. And it got to the point I'd go play with the rods outside, and he'd say, oh no, there's nothing there. Well, we got a sidewalk out back. This house here, which was built in the 1800s, and from what I understand, there was an old couple years and years ago that liked to bury things in the yard.
That's good. That's perfect.
And I suspect there's still some more stuff here that haven't been found yet. But I've marked off, and they crossed on the sidewalk. Little small walkway. I marked an X, got a rock, and marked an X on the sidewalk. Got another, they crossed again. So I marked another X. And then I checked one more spot and marked another X. He went and got his metal detector and said, no, because I was going to lift the sidewalk up, just tip it up.
Right.
He got his metal detector. He said, oh, there's nothing there, and it sounded off. I said, see? Then he hit the other 2 spots. It sounded off on those. So we got a bar, lifted the sidewalk up, and there was a zinc mason jar lid that was face down. And under the sidewalk, It was level until it got to that spot, and then it tapered down. There was some broken glass and a bunch of dirt, and he got to checking. And I think it had filled in on its own over the years.
Sure.
But what a better place to put a cache. Lift the sidewalk up, and you can unscrew the jar off of it and do what you need to do. Screw it back on and lower it back down. Nobody would ever know.
So do you think...
And it was inside of a window where you could look out and you could see. And they were people like that. They wanted to keep track of it.
Sure.
We lifted up the other sidewalk. Here was another one. And then in the third one, there was a German silver serving spoon that was about, that long. That was from the 1800s. It had been used, but it was old. And it had grapes. It had like bunches of grapes with the vines wrapped around the handle.
Like a floral design type of thing?
Yes. And
so do you prefer the forked branch method, or do you sound like you're more of the two metal binding rod?
I'd rather use the rods, but I found another design other than just the straight L rod. There's a guy in England. He does it a lot, and he's wrote books on it. David Villanova is his name, and he had a different design, which, let's see if I can get it to. And instead of going over the hand, it goes under.
Oh, okay.
And the sensitivity seems to be a lot better on it.
Does it matter if you have rings on?
Nope.
So, I'm trying to, how do I phrase this? So do you think that your brother didn't learn the proper technique, or do you think it's something that it's one of those talents that you're born with, or do you just have to be hypersensitive to certain senses, or how do you think?
He could wear watches and not magnetize. He had a lot of acid in his system, and it'd eat the back off of a watch in a short amount of time. He'd put a silver ring on, and before the day's over, it would be black, coal black.
So it must be your body's energy, or maybe
I wear a watch. I put a watch on. I've used pocket watches, wrist watches, and I always thought, a watch sits in a showcase, and sits there and runs, thinking, okay, you put it on, and within 2 or 3 days, and look, the battery's dead. I thought, okay, it's been sitting in there running for however long, a year, 2 years, Walmart, whatever.
Sure.
Put a new battery in it, a couple of days, the battery's dead. So I quit wearing watches, and the phone, my cell phone, same way. I can't carry a cell phone.
Really? So do you, do you have, does people in your neighborhood know about, or in your social group know that you have this gift? Have you found stuff for other people, or?
Yeah, I've looked and found property markers. I have a metal detector. I've used a lot of different kinds, and I run it's one of the older Xterra 70s.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
And I've got a nail tornado coil on it, which goes pretty deep. They're good coils.
That begs the question, that's my greyhound in the background. That begs the question, do you, does the metal detector pick up, for a better term, your energy? Like, do you think that the metal detector is less, messes up, or doesn't always hit it right because of what you feel that
the batteries don't last as long when I'm using it? But
I'm sure you were never hit by lightning, right?
Hit by lightning?
Yeah.
When we lived in the country, we had this big picture window, and I wasn't but 5 feet away from it. The TV sitting here, and lightning hit. There was a storm, and lightning hit it. Mom was in the front room. It was storming. It was hailing. Lightning hit the antenna. You could see a ball of fire coming down, and it came in the house and come into the back of the TV. I was only like 5 feet away from it.
CJ, he has superpowers.
I don't know if static charge, and I was like probably 5 when that happened. So I don't know.
So do you prefer dowsing, or do you prefer metal detecting?
I like metal detecting, but dowsing is something a little different, and I use them both together, combined.
So do you think
I can also go a lot deeper with dowsing.
Really?
But you figure when they found water wells. They count the bulbs. How many times it bulbs is how deep it is. Okay, if you can go 30 feet, I've got a ring that I had found in the yard. It took me about, I don't know, 60 feet across the yard. My detector wouldn't pick it up. I went into all metal mode and it still wouldn't pick it up. And I increased the sensitivity. It didn't matter what I did. And that's with the tornado coil. I dug down about a foot and got it big enough and stuck it in the hole and finally got a little signal. So I dug down even further and got the pinpointer out. And it's about 18 to 20 inches down, I pulled out a little ring that had a little gold plating on it. Because I wanted to find gold jewelry. And you got to be specific. And jewelry I did find, and it had a little intaglio, it had an A carved in a black stone. And it was made in Mexico. And the design would be like 19th century.
Sure.
Very early 20th century. And my detector wouldn't pick it up.
So my next question is, does a dowsing rod act differently for ferrous metals and precious metals? And then does it act differently for water? Or does it matter what you're looking for if it crosses? I mean, because I guess if you're looking for water and it crosses and you get a coin, are you like, oh, well, I mean, like, can you differentiate what you're looking for?
For me, if it depends on what I'm looking for.
Okay.
And I go that direction with it. Treasure hunting, jewelry.
Does it act different, I guess, is my question. Does the rods act different, or is it depending on what you're looking for?
They act the same.
Okay.
It's like finding sewer lines, which I've had to do.
So it won't discern.
So I found my sewer line that I had to dig down looking for a certain spot in the sewer line, and it's clay tile, so it's not metal.
So you're just looking for that cross. It doesn't matter.
Yes. When I get over it and it crosses, it is right straight down. And if you go past it,
is there anything that interferes? Is there anything that interferes with dowsing rods? Like, can you, like, if you show up and there's high power lines above you, are you just like, I'm not going to be able to find it, ma'am? Or, I mean, like, is there anything that gets in the way that's impossible to
I find that interferes with the metal detector more because electromagnetic interference, what's coming off line leakage, I guess you would call it.
Sure. Wow. Fascinating, Jay. What do you think?
I think it's amazing. I want to try it.
I've taught it to one of them. He's a shaman for a Ponca tribe, and use it because he runs off bad spirits, and they use ghost hunting. And
I do a lot of stuff like in the spirit world and stuff like that, and people use dowsing for spirits. So actually, I didn't know that you could use dowsing for metal until recently.
Let's get into that spirit thing right after the break, but we're going to pay another bill, watch a quick commercial, we'll come back and we'll talk to Kevin again.
We all know if you want to find good treasure, you've got to do research. HistoricAerials.com is one of the premier places to do that research. They've got the world's largest collection of United States historic aerial photos. You can compare pictures from year to year and see how topography and structures have changed over the decades. It's like having your own personal time machine. Make sure you're swinging your coil in the right places. HistoricAerials.com is free to use, but they also have subscriptions with awesome tools to help you track down treasure. Check out HistoricAerials.com. It's a real find.
And we're back. So, Kevin, that brings up a point. I guess, so dowsing would be kind of a good thing to use if you're moving into a new home or something to see if you can sense anything that you may not want to purchase the home with, correct?
Correct.
And so have you used that? Have you used that talent anytime?
Yes. I've had people, hey, what do we have here? What? And I tell them what they've got, and you can tell the energy off of it if it's good or bad.
Do you carry dowsing rods with you at all times just in case, or? or do you go the tree route, and will you make a forked stick if you have to? Because it sounds like you can handle both.
I'll make a forked stick if I have to.
Just whip one out.
and for me, it doesn't matter what kind of tree it is.
Really?
In history, there's some people that say, oh, it's got to be like to find water, it's got to be a willow tree because they're, attuned to water, or a fruit tree, or maybe off of like a pecan or something that produces nuts or fruit, whatever. For me, it doesn't matter. I've got a sugar maple I can use, and it works fine. Because I decided I hadn't done it in a while and I thought I'll just try a sugar maple tree and see what happens. I kind of knew where my water line coming in from the meter was, so I walked over it. It pulled down. It bounced twice, which is about right because it's about 2 foot deep. But I got past it, and it came up, and I had to move my head because then after I walked past it, it slapped me in the shoulder.
So somebody asked a question: can you pick up bad energy off of a person? Have you ever been dowsing with somebody and you said, "Yeah, I think it's time I go my separate ways"?
Yes.
Wow.
It'll tell you bad energy.
And so, were you born and raised in Oklahoma? Do you think that
yes.
the Native American culture had anything to do with your grandfather learning, or is it something that he just picked up? Because I mean, we all hear stories. I mean, we've all forgotten things. I mean, I know that my great grandparents had a million different ways to cure a cold and stuff like that, and through time we've lost that, and we've traded that knowledge in for take a pill and you'll be fine. I truly believe that there's a lot of things out there that our ancestors tried to pass on to us that we've forgotten that we could sure use these days. Common sense, one of them. But so would you say that that the part of the area of the country that you lived in had anything to do with what you were learning and things like that?
I don't think, because, well, my great grandpa was originally from, he was born in Indiana.
Okay.
So it's just a lost art, the old ways, like you were talking about, the medicines and all.
This isn't something that is strictly in America's thing. I mean, they do this in Europe too, right? So I mean, you talked about bent rods being made in Europe. So I mean, it wasn't something that Native Americans necessarily thought of. This is something that could go across the pond as well. So.
Right.
We have a question from Len Quellen. He said he's going to try this in the morning. So Len's in our group. He said he's going to try this in the morning. What's your tips for Len? He's starting out. What should he know?
Focus, concentration. You want to concentrate on what you want. And you got to be sure of it. It's like if you're looking for gold coin. If you want a gold coin, you got to make sure coin is thrown in there. Because I looked for gold, got a hit out by my sidewalk, and it was like, okay, the detector wouldn't pick it up. And it's like, how? And it told me it was like 6 inches. So about 6 inches down, I pulled up a big dirt clot, and I had my pinpointer and my detector, and neither one would go off. It's like, what the heck is wrong with this stuff here? And the rod showed me it was in the dirt clot. So I opened it up, and I seen gold. Well, it was gold-plated thread spool that had been run over by a lawnmower and cut in two. So the gold-plated plastic.
We had another person ask. He says to rub your palms of your hands together for a minute to get more energy.
Get more energy. Yes, that's correct.
Jay, what do you got? Any questions? I'm sorry, I'm taking up this interview. What do you got?
No, so I really feel like it is an energy thing and focusing and, really tuning in and tapping in within yourself to make this thing work.
Have you passed on this to? Have you passed this talent on to somebody in the family or friend?
I've got a daughter that can do it. So it's something that she's picked naturally. And her kids, they've picked that up too.
See, part of me wonders if it's genetic. Maybe you just have.
But my brother couldn't. But there was something about him, like the rubbing the hands. He'd clap his hands and rub them together. And if somebody was sore, had a sore shoulder or whatever, sore muscle, he could rub enough energy and he would put it, and it would go away within just a few minutes.
What about
so he's more of a healer type, I guess.
Yeah.
IB asked, have you ever been doing it and it rains? Does rain affect dowsing?
No, rain does not affect it. It
That's
probably adds more energy if there's,
right.
lightning, static electricity, the energy's higher.
Is there a type of metal, like is copper rods better than steel rods, or does it? Is there any sort of tricks that that people should know about in the tools?
The majority are made of brass and have good effect. And I see people. I've used copper, and I get the same effect with copper as I do brass as coat hanger. But then that's me too. Some people, they may just have to practice at it and concentrate more, to use.
Does this have to be a natural element? Does it have to be gold or water or minerals or diamonds? I mean, does it have to be, or can you say, I'm missing the head off my daughter's Barbie and find that? I mean, does it plastic?
It should be able to.
You get what I'm getting at? Does it have to be?
My car keys.
Yeah, does it have to be like a something from the earth, or can it be synthetic, like a plastic or something?
Inanimate object.
Yeah.
Inanimate. I guess they're all inanimate, but.
So you're saying no, as long as you kind of.
If you focus hard enough on what you're looking for.
You telling me these things can find my car keys?
Well, your car keys have metal on them.
All right, there you go.
Yeah, true, yeah.
And it is of the earth, so.
Right, yeah.
So, Kevin, you're in the law enforcement background. Have you ever used dowsing for anything law enforcement, like leading to finding evidence or anything like that?
That I haven't.
Okay. It'd be kind of interesting.
Yeah, I never had to look for evidence for anything like that.
Let's see what other questions I have. I mean, it's one of those things that I've seen once or twice, and you don't understand it, but you think it's cool. You think it's like a lost art. Mm-hmm. So it's just amazing to me. So you've helped other people. You found plot lines and stuff for houses. What's kind of the craziest thing you found for somebody that's asked you to find, or that you found that no one asked you to find, but you just found it?
Usually I find what I'm looking for, but
anything stick out in your mind, like that you found that was amazing? I mean, besides your 3 sidewalk things, because that was the case. That was either a drop point for something or it was a hoard,
I think it was a hoard because where both lids on both sides was hollowed out, the ground was sunk in and had broken glass, mason jar glass.
So what should?
But I did. Let's see. We've got a rodeo grounds. It's out here north of town. It used to be a fairgrounds in the 1800s before they moved it in about 1917. I was at the gate, and I was probably 75 yards away, and I thought I'm going to see find gold, because you figure fairgrounds, there was a racetrack, all that. Gold would be. People would be drinking. They would be betting. They'd be dropping gold coins. $5 gold pieces. And I did, and it focused next to the fence. It's like 75 yards away, and it's like, what the heck? So I headed that away, and I had my detector, pinpointer, and where it crossed. And I'm thinking, okay, gold. I was looking for gold. And I dig down, and I get a signal and pull it. And when I look at the edge of the clod, on the edge, I seen gold. I about...
had a heart attack there.
Exactly. And when I broke it open, it was an eagle button from the U.S. Cavalry.
Wow.
Because they used the cavalry in the military when they had the land run, which is only, and they did maneuvers before the land run. From the state line, from where Kansas is, down into Oklahoma, which is about where I'm at, roughly probably 6 miles, 7 miles. And they done it from here and went 5 miles east to the river, the Arkansas River.
Great comments. Indiana, I would say I've seen many folks practice dowsing first before exploring wells. I remember conversations as a kid amongst them saying he or she's a dowser and you should call them. It kind of brings up my next point.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like if, dowsing rods are pretty easy to take with you and have in the car. If you are looking for something camping, or if you're looking as your metal detector, sometimes we don't have our metal detectors with us. It may be smart to walk the area with the dowsing rods. If the dowsing rods go crazy, and you don't have your detector with you, you know that it may be a good enough spot to come back to.
Right.
Or something else. It's kind of one of those things that, how many times have we driven, myself as the detectorist, we've driven by something and said, that looks like a good yard. I wonder if it is. And then it's not. Or, it's like, it'd be nice to have a couple dowsing rods and then at least try it out. And if you get a lot of activity, then, it's worth exploring again.
Yeah, that's like at these fairgrounds. I used to see if I could find silver. If there was a lot of silver still left, because one of my best friends that died of cancer, his dad used to metal detect all over town, out in the country, and he hit that really hard, and he ended up with jars and jars and jars of silver that goes back to 1800s. Well, it showed there was still some at a location nobody had hunted. And when you walk out and you've got within a probably 10-foot area, and you pull out $3 worth of silver,
right?
$2 half-dollars, some quarters and dimes, and they're all barber.
They're old.
I mean, when you dig your first barber and it says, okay, 50 cents, and it's like, wait a minute, you check your pocket and make sure you didn't drop the one that you just dug up. And then you dig another one. That makes you feel good when you get done with it.
So what's your opinion on actual equipment? Do you think that somebody should spend money on dowsing rods, or do you think someone should just grab 2 coat hangers? I mean, it's like one of those things. Should you chase it?
To try it, I would use 2 coat hangers.
Okay.
You could try it and focus, concentration on what you want. Clear
and
your
see if
mind.
you got it.
Yes. That's like map dowsing. You ever heard of map dowsers? Douse maps, find locations, find areas. I've done that because your map is the exact replica of what actually exists on land.
Right.
And I was looking for, Osage Indian, Chief Black Dog, back in 1801, decided they wanted a trail that was about 15 horses wide. He wanted a highway. So if you make it wide, then your hunting party can come in and they're not stretched out so far. And it keeps the group close together. When they hit camp, they're all there together. Well, I marked it out 2 places on an old map from the 1870s on the Arkansas River where that crossed. 2 days later, a friend of mine, and we decided we're going to go to this place, and I overlaid it and checked exactly where it was at. I said, go up here and we'll get by the state line where the Arkansas crosses. We went, and on the east side, you could see the bank. Everywhere else was solid, 25 feet high, but
Sure.
Right at the spot of crossing and the water, you could walk across the river at that time. It was low enough. And that was why they probably used it as a crossing. But it V'd down, and it was probably 15, 20 horses wide. I'm sure it eroded over the years. But it was V'd down to where the trail come across, and you could see where it went west to their hunting grounds. And another place was 20 miles south.
Don't you think that you kind of, it's kind of like that, almost like the be prepared, the Boy Scout motto. Like, do you just have like a natural calm about you that that you're kind of in tune to this kind of stuff, so that you're not going to ever be lost. You're not going to be able. Is it something that you've always had, just kind of an overacting, over sense of calmness that probably has done you well throughout your life?
Mm-hmm. When I first got into it really hard, it used to drain me, use a lot of energy. I'd want to take a nap for 2 hours. Now I can pick them up and go on, no problem.
John Freeman says that he used it to great success to locate water lines, sewer lines, bury electrical. People don't believe it except when they see it. It's kind of like everything else. You gotta believe it, see it to believe it. But again, I mean, not to hammer on this, but I do think it's one of those lost arts that people that probably back 100, 200 years ago did it like it was, they probably had dowsing people in town, almost like you set up a shop. There's the blacksmith, there's the dowser, and it's just one of those things that now everybody's used to technology, and technology doesn't fail you, and you don't need electricity or batteries to find water.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah, and you can make brass dowsing rods for what? Brass, like welding rod, 1/8-inch welding or brazing rod, brass rod. You get them about what, $2 a piece?
Right.
And you can buy one, cut it in half because they're about 36 inches long. And that'll give you enough to start.
It's amazing. Makes you want to go try it, doesn't it, Jay?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been thinking about it the whole time.
So, Kevin,
has anyone ever told you you're an empath?
Yes. So I am extreme empath.
Okay.
Okay, I have no idea what that is, so explain to me.
You want to go or you want me to?
Go ahead.
So an empath is somebody that actually feels other people's feelings. And so if you're an empath, you have a hard time feeling your own feelings, but you can feel other people's. Like if you go into a mall, it's very draining because there's so many people around, so much energy around. So
is that a talent or a curse?
Something you're born with. I think it's a curse.
It seems like a curse, especially if you work in a casino and you're around 300 or 400 people.
Yep, and all the energy in there.
And it's just like, I hate crowds.
Yeah, sure. So do I.
Oh.
It's kind of the exact opposite of being like a sociopath, where you're only concerned about yourself and you don't know anything else or have any empathy for anybody else.
Yep.
So I guess it's kind of the exact opposite spectrum, right?
Yep.
Huh. Wow.
And people follow you out, or they come to you, and everybody's got to tell you their problem.
Right. And you can attract.
It's like a healing thing, and once they get that off their chest, that makes them feel better. But then, I don't know, it drives you crazy.
Yeah.
So if somebody, they can make their own, but is there Facebook groups? I assume there's YouTube groups. Is there any place that people that are kind of, I don't know, caught the bug tonight should go to learn about dowsing? Or you said you had a YouTube channel yourself, correct?
Yes. Mainly it's just on metal detecting, and it's where I've got is from an old ghost town.
Okay.
And so you'll see pictures of where the old wagon trail went down back in the 1860s, 1870s.
So basically, though, just search dowsing on YouTube or Facebook and find some groups.
There is a society, American Dowser Society. And then there's also one that's a British Dowser Society.
See, I have a feeling that the American Dowser Society is not doing a good enough job in promoting this, because there's not
that many.
This is so fascinating.
Here, I don't know what it is.
So do you have to do any spiritual, for a better term, meditation to get in the right mind to douse? Like if you work at the casino and you're taking in all this negative energy, or I guess it's not all negative, but you're experiencing all this energy from different people. Do you have to cleanse yourself, so to speak, to get into the right mood, or can you just get off of work and then go douse for water?
I usually get off and I got to unwind.
Okay.
Because there is a lot of negative energy because nobody's winning.
All right.
And that's all you hear. People complain, I'm not winning. I'm not winning.
What about me? What about me?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, M. Healy saying that it's becoming a lost art, and that's exactly right.
It is.
No one knows about it.
Right.
To me, it's amazing that people will follow a magician who does sleight of hand, who says, going into it, I'm performing sleight of hand. I am tricking your brain into doing something. but people still think that is more cosmic or more spiritual than somebody who can get in tune with nature and use dowsing rods to find stuff. It's that's crazy to me. I rather learn this kind of stuff and learn something that's going to be a skill than anything else. Is pretty interesting to me.
And I've taught it, and I don't know if I could teach it online or not. I don't know how easy, if I would need to be one-on-one, because these guys I worked with, I was one-on-one with them.
Do you go out with groups of people? Like, can you?
There's none around here.
Really? So you're just by yourself?
Yes.
Do you feel like the people that you teach pick it up?
Yes.
Okay. So most people do.
Mm-hmm.
So,
because they're wanting to learn it, so their focus is greater. Yes.
Yep.
You got to have an open mind, kind of, not a closed mind. That everything's scientific. You got to go by, and just like scientific stuff, now they're finding out what carbon dating is not exactly a true science like they thought it was.
Isn't it amazing though? I mean, not to get on a high horse off topic or anything, but don't you think it's amazing? We think that technology solves everything, but for centuries, people have gotten along just fine. They've built pyramids, they've survived, and now we're so beholden to things. And now granted, it's ironic because we're sponsored by a metal detecting company, the most I consider probably one of the most technically advanced metal detecting companies. So yes, I am buying into technology and science, but like I said, I do think that there is something to be said that if you tune yourself in with like dowsing to prep an area or to search an area before, that there's some positives there. And you know what? No matter how compact the XP Deus and lightweight it is, it only weighs 2 pounds and blah blah blah. It's still more heavy than putting two copper rods in your back pocket or something.
Right.
So. Somebody mentions there's no COVID here. I wonder, they teach dogs to smell for COVID now. I wonder if Kevin would put his dowsing rods at the main entrance of like a Walmart, and he could filter out everybody that has COVID and save everybody the time. That'd be
we're dowsing for COVID.
Yeah,
save a lot of people.
Let's $200. I had to get tested for COVID.
It's not fun, is it? If you notice, I have quite a large feature, and I've got a huge deviated septum, and I had carpal tunnel surgery, and when she kept missing, and I'm like, you need to go over, and then she found it, and I'm like, oh, you're touching my brain. It was not it's not
no
the fun. Yeah, so hey, we're gonna take one more commercial, and then we're gonna come back with Kevin and wrap up, and then Jay's got some stuff to give away. You're watching In the Zone with XP Team USA.
Hi, I'm Cameron Macer from XP Team USA. I wanted to drop in to tell you about our new store. Go to www.xpteamusastore.com. Here you will find our official team hats, t-shirts, both long and short sleeved, hoodies, jackets, and even shorts. Lots of good stuff here, folks. Proceeds from the store will help us continue to give away great prizes from our many contests, and we thank you for your support. Now back to the zone with RC Dunn and Dave D.
I just thought of something that was really cool. Whenever we metal detect, sometimes we purposely have test beds where we put coins in the ground and then look for depth and things to dial in our detectors. It's almost cool too. I mean, that'd be a hell of a way to practice dowsing. Is that same way? Is bury some stuff and maybe not tell somebody and then switch off. Have somebody bury for you. At least maybe practice and hone your skills. Is that something you've done before, Kevin?
Yes, I've done that before. But put stuff in the ground, put a couple of coins in the ground to see how quick it reacts. I know it goes deep, so.
See, I just don't know why people would like. To me, maybe it's because I'm such a tight ass. You can ask my wife that. But like, if I was in the middle of the country and I was going to dig a well, like I would throw. I would call a buddy or throw somebody that I know a bone and, a couple of cases of beer or something just to try. I mean, it's a lot cheaper to find somebody who douses and to prove them and have them prove everybody right than it is to dig a bunch of test holes and stuff. And with that same thing being said, last week we had the one of the gold prospectors on. It's like wouldn't you rather? I mean, Kevin asked me tell me if I'm wrong, but I would almost want to douse the area before I started coring out a bunch of plugs to see if the mine was active.
Mm-hmm. You got the show Legend of the Superstitions.
Sure.
Woody, you ever watch it?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
He douses when they try to look for gold or gold veins, if they're looking for the area they need to go. He does a lot of dowsing too.
Yeah, to me, it just seems like it's somewhere in between. Like I think it's more of a lost art than a superstition belief type of thing. I'm leaning more that way. But it's one of those things, until I do it myself or see somebody do it, you're a little skeptical. And I'm sure a lot of people watching the show tonight are a little skeptical. But I guess the only thing you could say is just try it yourself and find somebody that does it. Because, unlike, even ghosts or things like that, you don't necessarily have visual proof. Here you do. I mean, like if you douse and the dowsing rods cross and you dig and you've got water, I don't know how much more of a skeptic you can be. I mean, there's evidence right there. So I'm sure you fight it every day you do it. But I guess that's a long way of saying, have you ever been unsuccessful dowsing? Have you ever had to come back and do it again?
Not yet.
So you're 100% sold on this. There's no question.
Yeah.
This is pretty powerful stuff. I'm excited.
Yeah, you kind of want to try it.
Like just ghost hunting, it'll also point where if there's a spirit or if there is a ghost or if there was something wherever it's at, and you want to find out exactly where they're at, it will point to them.
Really? So they can't hide?
Yeah. Right.
Huh. Interesting.
So, yeah, I don't know.
Do you feel like dowsing is actually paranormal?
I probably related to it in some way.
Just having that hypersensitivity, right?
Yep.
As opposed to. See, that's why another thing is kind of, I think that's the difference here too, is it's an art form. Like anybody can buy a metal detector and learn it. Anybody can buy a baseball bat, and you may not be a major league baseball player, but you can study enough and learn enough to hit a ball, or a golfer. No one's going to be Tiger Woods, but you can learn and practice and figure it out.
Right.
But I think to be in tune to douse, I don't think you can just pick up dowsing rods and have at it. Like, I think there is a little bit of natural born energy, like you said, to pick up on that kind of stuff. I don't know.
The more you do it, the better you get. It's like everything, metal detector, same way. The more you listen to the tones, and you can determine what it is that you found.
And with metal detecting or with dowsing, it takes the guess out of it. I mean, you're saying I'm looking for water, and you're going to find water.
If you're looking for something specific.
And M. Healy says that he thinks he's read where 8 out of 10 people can learn. So I mean, that's a high percentage, but apparently, obviously there's still some group of people that have a hard time. But Kevin, I think everybody should follow you on Facebook. You, my friend, are fascinating. I have a feeling this is probably not the last time we're going to talk to you. You stay safe, and Oklahoma. You practice those dowsing rods, and we'll have you back again to see some of your famous stuff. And if we've got a teammate in Oklahoma City, and maybe we can have a little dowsing and metal detecting going on, and he can shoot it, because I think this is a pretty fascinating subject and something that I'm glad we got to discuss tonight. So, Kevin, thank you for being on the show, and we appreciate it. So have a good night.
I enjoyed it.
Kevin.
All right, Kevin. Talk to you later.
Thank you.
Wow, Jay.
That was cool.
That was cool.
That was cool.
You know what else is kind of cool, but not quite as cool as that?
Me? Oh.
Okay. No, what else? You got to tell me the story. Everybody that follows Lady J's Coin Club or Infinity Coins on Facebook saw what came into the store the other day. Why don't you tell us?
We just never know what's going to come in the shop. It is so exciting. So on Saturday, I get a phone call that a gentleman wanted to sell his father's collection of wheat cents. And I'm like, oh, sure, bring them in. We'll buy them all. And he's like, no, ma'am, you don't understand. I have a lot of wheat cents. Oh, great. Yep, we'll buy them all. You know, he's like, ma'am, there are a lot of cents there, thousands and thousands and thousands. I'm like, awesome. The more the merrier, you know.
Right.
So he pulls up with ammo boxes upon ammo boxes upon ammo boxes full of wheat cents. To be exact, it was a 30-gallon drum full because we poured all of our wheat cents into our drum that we had just bought a big silver order, and all of our silver came in this giant drum.
I mean, what people need to understand, this is like, I mean, let's put it into layman's terms. I mean, like a trash can.
Yeah,
like something you would put a keg of beer in, full to the brim with wheat pennies.
Yeah, his father just collected and collected and collected. He didn't have much numismatic knowledge, and he wanted gold. So we traded him gold for all of these wheat cents. We have absolutely no idea what's in these. And I always tell people, we don't search our wheat cents. We don't have time. And It's not worth it for us to have to hire somebody to come in and search these things.
And
we would rather give them to our customers and have them find all the cool stuff. And
this guy didn't take the time to go through all these ammo boxes either. So So again, like last week, we had a guy who talked about selling pay dirt, where you could get the pay dirt and get gold. This is a treasure hunt yourself. I mean, so you're selling different poundage, and you're not. You could get 09s, you could get 53s, or I mean, you have no idea. But
everybody wants to know where all those 1943 coppers are.
Right. I mean,
it's right here.
So how does one get a hold of you? And you've sold. I saw your trunk. I think I don't know how I don't know how the post office. I know they're having issues right now, but they must hate you because it looked like you.
I got the new guy yesterday, and Kevin thinks he's great, but he did not think I was great when I walked in, and he literally made me roll my cart back out of the post office and meet him at the side door, and he took all the packages from the side door, and then he was mad because he had to give me a receipt. So. Yeah, he was not excited. But
how much does it cost to ship? What were you selling? Pounds, 2 pounds, 3 pounds?
Yeah, we're selling them by the pounds. And so you can order them on the website, infinitycoins.com. We have them in 1,000-count bags. So if you go on there, you can buy them by the thousands.
Is that a pound?
Or you can reach out to me, and you can buy them by the pounds.
How much is that? The more
pounds you buy, the cheaper I can get them to you for.
That bag right there, how many pounds is that?
That is, let's see.
Or what's the price on that, I guess?
1,000-count bag, and there's approximately 146 cents in a pound. So this is approximately 6.84 pounds.
Okay.
So we're going to give away a few pounds, too, to somebody on our next show.
That sounds awesome.
We want to keep cranking out the sharing our show. So I post that everywhere. I post up on my personal page. I post on Lady Jaye's, and then
and we got some new people tonight. We got some new people tonight. So if you want a chance,
share the show.
If you want a chance to win a pound of, you don't know what, they could be amazing, they could be not, but hey, everybody's gambling here, right? That's what we're doing here. If you want to win a pound of unsearched wheat cents, you got to go to Lady Jaye's Coin Club and like it and follow. You got to go to Infinity Coin, like it and follow it. You got to go to XP Team USA, like and follow. You got to like and follow everything that's going on here. And then you're going to use the code word in the zone, or the code phrase in the zone. If you do that, then Jay's going to get your name down, and then we're going to do a drawing, and then that person is going to win a pound of cents. And then hopefully you'll come and contact us and say, got a 1909. I got a 43. I don't know. Somebody said they want a pound of 20s. Jay, you got.
You might get a pound of 20s.
But you know what? You know what?
I have no idea what's in there.
You know what?
I literally just start playing with them and picking them up.
Well, it's kind of cool. I mean, like if you're in the house and you can't go out because of COVID or you're self quarantining or something, get a couple pounds, and spend the afternoon sorting them out. I mean, you can't go wrong with wheat pennies. It's just a cool thing to have, and you can go through. Maybe you got some that are some errors or double struck or anything. Who knows?
Yep, could be a 1955 double die in there. You never know. We don't know. We don't want to deal with it. I don't want to sound like lazy or anything, but we don't want to deal with going through them. We don't have time.
When you're dealing in the volume you're dealing in, that's what you have to do.
I've literally, since COVID happened, I have the shop phone on my cell phone. So I always have the shop phone on. And then I have my actual shop phone next to me. And then there's a phone next to me in the desk over here. And then we have phones all throughout the shop. I sometimes have my cell phone, my shop phone, and the guy's phone outside. The phone calls are just lining up. We have just had mountains of people. COVID's been beautiful.
Right.
We're truly blessed that we've had so much business, but we're just so busy. We're not searching those.
So the moral of the story is follow us on Facebook, like us on Facebook. You can win. Also, the moral of the story is if you've got a coin collection that you need to get rid of, or you want to trade for gold, or you've got silver, you want to trade for gold, whatever, you need to call Jay. She'll help you take care of it. And you don't need to be in Idaho. You can do it all over the phone and ship it, and they'll take care of you on Facebook.
I do tons of deals on Facebook all day long, people selling us stuff. And we buy strong and we sell strong.
Perfect.
And so we pay high because we want to take care of our customers. We want people to come back to us and, run a good business.
And that is infinitycoins.com. Infinitycoins.com and Lady J's Coin Club. So 2 weeks ago, we were getting ready. We're going to give away some 50-cent pieces that light up the Marvel universe. Who's our winner?
Man won these 3 light up coins for sharing. She went on my page and she shared.
I stepped on your big announcement. Who won it again?
Darian Mann.
All right, Darian, you know what to do. Get a hold of Jay at Infinity Coins. Congratulations.
Yes. Help us share the love. We want to give you guys free stuff. We want to help you guys.
IB says you need a secretary. You're big time. Well, we had a comment that says you need a secretary. You're big time now. You need to have an assistant yourself.
Well, I think Kevin is figuring that out. And so now we just took Sean on full time. And Sean was hired to do the website. I don't have to build the website anymore.
I take a little pride in the fact that we're putting some business your way. So that's good.
So we're gonna have a lot more stuff on the website because Sean was hired to just put stuff on there.
Awesome.
So I do everything. So I've been not getting stuff up on there as quick because I'm answering the phone 3 deep at a time.
Right.
So we've got him cranking that out. So we're excited. Lots of new stuff coming. And buy these scents. You don't know what is in here.
They need their trash barrel back for other things.
Yeah.
Let's spread the word. All right. Well, we've been on for an hour. It's great. Jay, thank you for stepping in last minute. You performed amazingly. Thoughts and prayers go out to Dave D, dealing with a family issue back home in New York. But we'll see you in 2 weeks. And Jay, we're going to start thinking. I don't know who else. We've had a gold person and we've had a dowser. We've had 2 back-to-back amazing shows. We got to come up with somebody else. So
yeah.
All right.
Work on it.
All right. See you later. Take care, guys. Everybody in the zone.